What's up, my friend? Welcome back to another Kajabi video. And today we are taking a look at the next step in the course creation process, which is to create a nice outline and just make it as juicy as possible before we actually start building the materials itself. Like recording, editing, putting it all together, we have to actually start with the outline, because if you just have a course idea, that's all well and good. But when it comes to actually putting the content into the course, how do you know actually where to start? Right? I think of it like a book, right? A great book, a great story always has an outline, a certain chapter order that takes you from start to finish. And the same applies to online courses as well. So I want to show you just behind the scenes of one of my courses that I've launched. This one is called Transformative Ear Training. And the whole point of this is to help people when they're producing music, composing music, be able to play by ear, be able to listen critically to what other composers are doing in their music, and apply those same techniques to their own music to make it that much better, right? So that's the underlying transformation. That's the promise that I am sharing with this course. And to the prospective customer. So here you can see at the very top of my outline, before I even outline anything about the modules, the individual lessons, I talk about the transformation itself, because again, we talked about this in the previous videos, how important it is to focus on the transformation completely and make sure that is the underlying element that ties the whole thing together. So here you can see my transformation. By the end of this course, you'll be able to identify and sing melodies and harmonies. So you're going to be able to hear chords and play them out as well. Orchestral instruments and which ones to use in your own music, and how to create full, rich mixes. And mixes are just where you take the individual instruments in an arrangement and mix them together, basically polish them up to a cohesive whole so that when you publish the track, people can listen to it and be satisfied with the listening experience without basically noticing the individual instruments and stuff like that. So basically polishing it up. It's like the Photoshop of music, if you will. And then after I have this transformation, I'm happy with it, then I start outlining the modules. So here's where you're going to be really specific about, the starting point and all the way down to the ending point. In this case, I have 6 different modules, and I have individual bullet points within each module. Now, these bullet points are essentially going to be my individual lessons that I put into the course. So of course, this will take some time, right? For example, module 1 is all about an introduction to listening. Why do we do this in the first place? Why is it beneficial to have a developed ear? Why do we want to listen critically in the first place, right? And then I have some other lessons here, my favorite resources, the best tool to improve your inner ear, stuff like that. And as we go through the basics, how to listen for melodies, how to listen for harmonies, rhythmic recognition, how to hear rhythm, internalizing the symphony orchestra. So now we're getting into orchestration, arranging, things like that, and then mixing at the very end. So it's step by step, very, very clear. And within these individual modules and lessons, the whole point is to make them as benefit-driven as possible. So let me say that one more time. We want to make the individual lessons as beneficial as possible, meaning that you don't just want to focus on making lesson names that sound kind of boring, but it ties back to the transformation. What will they understand? What will they learn after going through this individual lesson? Whether it's a video or reading through a document, what is it, right? What will they learn? So I try to make these bullet points super, super juicy if possible. Now some of these, it's more so just to outline the lesson so I understand what I'm talking about. But in the actual lesson, I will name it something as juicy as I can, So, and this essentially, this is like copy that you can use for your sales page as well. So like once you're happy with your module names and your individual lesson names, you can use those on the sales pages to make them as enticing as possible. And you're not manipulating people. You're essentially just sharing what your program is all about and what it includes. So here I'm just saying, internalizing the symphony orchestra, understanding the orchestra, a color palette, right? Understanding it as a color palette instead of being overwhelmed by all the possibilities that you could be using. I talk about the strings, the winds, the brass percussion, how to double and layer for new timbres and colors, how to choose the right instruments for your music every single time through 3 simple steps, right? So I try to make it as detailed and juicy as possible. And again, this is just an outline, so it does not have to be perfect, but the idea is to make it as specific as you can so you have a roadmap to follow when you start producing your course. Okay, so please don't skip this step. creating an outline for anything you're creating, whether it's, a course or a community or a coaching program, there's always an A to Z system that you're going to be taking them through. And you always want to be outlining at the very beginning so that you're not guessing along the way while you're starting to record your content. Okay? So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Again, if you want to join me on the journey, I'd love for you to join me in Kajabi. Again, that's the platform that we'll be using to upload the course into. And so as we go through the challenge and go through that process, you can follow me every single step of the way if you join the same platform. And they usually give you a 14-day free trial on their website. But if you use my link down below in the description, I can get you an extended 30 days plus 2 bonus mini courses, Kajabi in 30 days and content marketing for creatives. And you'll receive those both for free as an additional thank you for using my link below. And also throughout the duration of this challenge, I am also offering a complimentary coaching call, a half-an-hour coaching call where you can take me up on it anytime. Whether you want some help with your business or you just want to ask a couple questions, it's completely up to you. But throughout the duration of this challenge, I am offering this call. So if you join my link down below, you can forward me your first month's receipt or your annual receipt, and we can set up that coaching call anytime you like. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.